Today I'm spending some time with the Lucid Gravity Grand Touring and I wanted to share what it's really like behind the wheels. I'll be talking about everything from how it drives and rides to visibility controls and the one pedal system. I'll also do a live demo of the navigation so you can see how it works in real time. There's a lot to unpack because this SUV keeps a lot of the Lucid Air's character, but it's bigger, taller, and it handles differently. So I wanted to give you a real sense of it as a daily driver and as a performance vehicle. We'll cover the air suspension, the chassis feel, the way it corners, and all the little things that make it enjoyable to drive. So stick around and let's jump in. The Lucid Gravity Grand Touring feels really smooth, and the one pedal drive is much gentler than before. A clear step up from the Lucid Air. It doesn't yank you into a stop, it just eases you there. You get 3 levels to choose from, and at the highest setting, it brings 0.3 g of deceleration. You try to break it by your accelerator release, and it'll outdo Tesla. Had never imagined saying that. I have the height raised all the way up right now because I always do that for better visibility, and it works well. The mirrors are a bit on the smaller side, but they still give a good view of what's happening around me. The chassis feels tuned into perfection, and out of a corner it feels incredibly fast. The Circle steering wheel, which I mentioned in my first impressions, is small and takes a little getting used to, but it never made me think of the Cybertruck, even though the shape is a bit similar. The only time it feels slightly awkward is when turning all the way to full lock. Other than that, it feels nice and firm with solid feedback. The thinking behind the shape was, at least to some extent, some better visibility of the screen behind, but I see most useful information anyway put on the screen on the right side. It is anyway going to be a personal thing in the end, I guess. All the trims I'm told will have air suspension and an added package takes it notches higher. The overall visibility is excellent. I was a little unsure about the rearview mirror at first because with 3-row SUVs you never know, but it turned out fine. The Rivian R1S may feel a bit more open in the back, but the Gravity does well too. The third row headrests take away a little of the view, but not enough to be a problem. Drive modes are the same as in the Lucid Air: Swift, Sprint, and Smooth. I have heard more might be added, but I tend not to count on those announcements anymore. I only had a couple of good chances to launch it today, mostly on open highway on ramps. The turn signals click off after about 3 blinks. Maybe there is a menu somewhere to adjust that, but I signal early and for longer, so I had to tap it again a few times. It is not like Tesla where the signal cuts the moment the turn is complete. Regular drivers are going to appreciate the balance of the controls distribution. The shifter and the turn signals are physically around the steering, and a fair set is on the screens, so no complaining for traditional drivers. What stands out is how much of the Air's personality they have kept in the SUV. If you have driven the Air, the Gravity feels familiar right away. Ride quality is excellent. Road noise isolation is not perfect, partly from the wheels and tires, and partly NVH. But I like having a little road feel and a touch of motor whine, the same way I enjoyed in my Model Y. Power is at 828 horsepower, and it is all available when you need it, especially on the freeway. The ESP system is next generation. The brake pedal feels smooth and predictable, and the air suspension is seamless. You can tell they took their time with it. It is impressive that Lucid moved from a low, sleek sedan to a larger, heavier SUV and kept the same performance character. They do not get enough credit for that. For some people, this could be the best riding EV on the market right now. Charging speed and range are right up there with Porsche. Handling is classic Lucid. The way it stays planted in corners, the way the rear steps out just enough, the way they manage grip. Getting a large EV to feel this composed at highway speeds is not easy, but the Gravity manages it well. It can carry cargo, move quickly, ride comfortably, and handle corners. Few EVs do all of that in one package. It is not whisper quiet, but perhaps that is no longer the main definition of luxury. And this vehicle is still evolving. With OTA updates, calibration changes, and new features, it could continue to improve. Of course, OTA capable does not always mean updates will arrive quickly, as that depends entirely on Lucid. This is running a dual motor all-wheel drive setup on Lucid's high voltage platform, about 926 volts, so it's pretty efficient and keeps charging times short. The battery is around 123 kilowatt hours, which is smaller than some other big SUVs, but it still gives you up to about 450 miles of range if you have got it in the most efficient configuration. Instead of the Wonderbox in the Lucid Air, the Gravity uses the rear motor's inverter when it's charging at Tesla V3 superchargers. That lets it boost the incoming voltage from around 400 volts to about 500 volts. It's a neat way to make the most of existing hardware without adding extra components, and it still delivers solid charging speeds. The version I'm in is the Grand Touring, so it's making 828 horsepower. It's quick but not in an aggressive way. You press the pedal and it just gets up to speed without fuss. The chassis makes a big difference in how it feels. The air suspension smooths out bumps without making the ride floaty. The rear axle steering really helps in parking lots and tight turns, and on the highway it gives you that steady planted feeling. For a 3-row SUV, it's surprisingly easy to place on the road. There are a few things to keep in mind. Being dual motor, it can still run into traction limits if you floor it from a stop. Charging speeds depend on the station, so even with the boost from the rear inverter, you might not always see the top numbers. Charging access may have improved with the NACS interface, but there's lots more to charging beyond that, and plenty of real world factors to account for. Overall, it's an efficient, capable setup that's comfortable for everyday driving and well sorted for longer trips. Nothing about it feels like it's trying too hard. It just works quietly in the background, which is probably the best thing you can say about a drive system in a big electric SUV. Let's look at the navigation and route planning. I'll enter a random address to view its route plan. I'll start with the address for Yosemite National Park. The current location itself seems wrong. We'll continue anyway. The first card shows the distance to the destination and the range on arrival, both in miles. Alongside are the duration and the arrival time. The first two turn-by-turn directions appear at the top. The individual elements of the route display some useful information. The planned charging locations show minutes to charge, available power, and both arrival and departure range. I wonder if that can be switched to battery percentages. It also prominently shows the tolls on this route. When expanded, a charging location displays the distance from the current spot, the total number of chargers, their peak charge rates, and the session details. Let's check Union Square in San Francisco. The software is clearly not dialed in, and that shows in the current location itself. It's at least 140 to 150 miles off from the real spot, but we'll see how it presents the options. The numbers here are surely not ones to rely on. It shows 196 miles and 5 hours from the location the system has chosen, which we know is not correct. I have not liked this map one bit. I mean the basic UI itself. Let's change some options and you'll see what I mean. This is not a view you want to catch in the corner of your eyes while driving, nor do you want to be fiddling with it in a moving car. Much like with the Lucid Air, this system is going to take a lot of time to get bug free. There are numerous factors that will require detailed attention. This system is going to require plenty of work and polishing, and we'll be tracking it all here. Let's look for the Tesla Dyna in Los Angeles. You can already see the quality of the predictive text, something that should be bread and butter by now. It still takes a long time to index and show even the basic suggestions. Let's give it another try. There, it finally has it. Exactly that, with the same information laid out. I expect the system to lag and freeze, and it clearly needs substantial work. There's no doubt it feels rushed. Misrouting is a real possibility with the software even struggling to detect location correctly. Surely this may not be a full production version, or perhaps it's still not dialed in for delivery. But when I asked, I was told this is pretty much what to expect in the delivery car. And that's disappointing. I'd also be nervous using it in areas with weaker signals, which is a major challenge for all. I recently reviewed Google Maps integration in the Rivian. You can check the link here. That should give you a clearer sense of the benchmarks, though even that system isn't perfect. Here you can see the charging options dominated by Tesla as expected, and that's pretty much the case for all the OEMs. The settings button brings up a card on the left with default and satellite view at the top. You can see the map refresh as you switch between the options. Tapping offline mode closes the map, opens climate control, and resets the navigation app. So that's the Lucid Gravity Grand Touring. It's driving and route planning. It's really impressive how Lucid has moved from a sleek sedan to a larger SUV and kept the driving character intact. The one pedal drive, air suspension, and well thought out controls make it smooth and engaging. During the live demo, I did notice that the navigation system was a bit disappointing, but that aside, the Gravity still delivers a rare combination of comfort, performance, and usability, all in one EV. It's easy to see why it could be one of the best riding electric SUVs out there. Stay tuned for more on this fabulous car. If you'd like to see more EV content, check out my channel lists and some of my recent videos. I'll see you in the next one.